right. Hey, everybody. See, I'm trying to get this sorted out. There we go. Multiple things going on. So, Gio here and I are going to talk to you today about an emotional dysregulation cycle because most aggression and reactivity is, well, it's stemming from a lot of root causes, right? If your dog is inherently nervous or anxious, if there's genetics involved, maybe you have a livestock guardian breed, maybe you have a German Shepherd who's a natural tendency to guard, okay? So I don't want to get off topic, but there's lots of reasons for aggression and reactivity. And the number one reason is probably genetics. Okay. That could be breed genetics, genetics of mom and dad, and genetics of grandma and grandpa. If you didn't see my previous live, you might want to go and look at that, where I talked about two important studies that prove one, that when an animal has a scary experience, like when your dog, mom or dad, has a scary experience, epigenetics happens and the DNA changes. And for 2 generations, that fear, the fear of snakes, the fear of spiders, the fear of men, whatever it might be, can be passed on for 2 generations. Okay. And the other one was about rats and how if the mother rat is not taking care of the rat pups in those first critical 12 hours, then you end up with adult rats that manifest with anxiety, dysregulation. They don't learn as fast. They can't remember. They're not as resilient. You can read about those studies. And if you've heard me say anything, I am a firm believer that we need to stop blaming the owners, because in my experience of 30 years working with dogs and people, it's that you all love your dogs. You all have done all the things that have ever been asked of you to stop the aggression and reactivity. You've hired multiple trainers. You've spent thousands of dollars. You've watched hundreds of YouTube videos. You've read books. You've asked your friends. It's insanity. And I will also admit that it can be paralyzing and overwhelming to try to find a trainer, because everybody, including myself, has the answer, has their way of doing things. And what I would like you to know about me is that I am science-based. If I'm going to share my opinion, I'm going to say, this is my opinion. But otherwise, I am working from science and what it has taught me and what it has told us about dogs and behavior and learning theory, anxiety, all of these things. So you may have seen some of my other lives or videos about functional dog training. And what I want to talk to you about today, which kind of will give you some answers about what functional dog training is if you have a dog that's aggressive and reactive. They might be barking at the TV, at animals they see on the TV. They might be barking out your windows at anything that's going by. They could be barking at your backyard. You may feel like they have supersonic hearing because they're barking at things in the house. They're barking in the car. And God forbid you try to walk them because they're a wreck on walks, barking, lunging, growling. So if that sounds like you or your dog, not you, but your dog, then it's fair to say that they are stuck in an emotional dysregulation cycle. An emotional dysregulation cycle is when their nervous system is overwhelmed and short-circuiting, and it keeps them stuck in fight or flight. If you or your dog is in fight or flight mode, you can't learn. It's almost impossible to follow directions, let alone a command to sit or look at me or heel or lay down or whatever it is that you might be asking your dog. They can't, because they have gone back to lizard brain, to reaction space, to fight or flight. And when that happens, there's literally something that happens in the brain that prevents them, that blocks them from getting to their prefrontal cortex, so they cannot process information. So, all right, great, Denise. Thanks for the diagnosis. My dog is in a big old emotional dysregulation cycle. What do we do now? Well, sit down, stay, come and call training is not going to help. Okay, that's not the answer. Obedience is not the answer. Those are fun, and there's places for that, but that is not going to stop the aggressive reactive behavior. You have got to calm your dog's nervous system. You have to get them regulated again. And I'm just going to go over this really briefly. And if you're interested in more information, we are offering our free webinar, Dog Aggression, Fact versus Fiction, Learn Why Everything You've Been Told is Not Working. All you need to do is reply CALM, C-A-L-M, and we will send you the link to get on the priority list so that you will get the registration link when we open that up. And it's coming soon because it's at the end of August and we're almost there. So if your dog is stuck in an emotional dysregulation cycle, the first thing you need to do is calm their nervous system. And the way that we're going to do that is we're going to bring everything home. We're going to start in the home. So if your dog is reacting on walks, you need to stop walking them. If they're enrolled in doggy daycare, you need to get them out of doggy daycare. Doggy daycare is one of the most dysregulated emotional places you can put a dog. And it's the most unnatural place, which I'm not going to get into here, but trust me, everybody that we have told to take their dog out of daycare, and they've all done it hesitantly, they have said within a week or two that already they've seen a positive change in their dog. Okay, so that's one thing. How do we bring it all home? We address all of the places that your dog is emotionally dysregulated. If they're barking out the windows, if they're barking at the car, there's things that we're going to do about that. If they're barking in your backyard, if they have this supersonic hearing and they're just barking, you don't even know what it is. We're going to address all of these places in the home to get them to calm down. And that's about boundaries, setting firm boundaries for them. Boundaries are clarity. Clarity is kindness for your dog. Dogs love black and white. Oh, great. I can always get on the couch. Super. Or I can never get on the couch. Great. I understand that. It's when we don't hold good boundaries for our dogs, it gets a little wishy-washy for them. Okay. I'm not saying that getting on or off the couch is a part of the emotional dysregulation cycle. I just use that as an example for setting boundaries. So we bring it all home. We address every place that the dog is emotionally dysregulated. We get them to stop barking in all these places. And you do that by setting up their environment for success, by setting up boundaries that you can hold for them, that they can count on. And while you're doing that, you are teaching them some patterns and routines. You can think of them as the same thing, because patterns and routine reduce stress and anxiety. When you, as a human being, know what comes next, oh, we eat dinner at 6, we watch a movie at 7, and we go to bed at 8. If obviously for a child, great, I get that. Doesn't mean they're going to do it happily, but it does mean that they understand the pattern and the routine. Most people have a nice routine or pattern for feeding their dogs. Sometimes the dog goes to a specific place in the kitchen, or they run into their crate, or they sit on a bed, or they lay down, whatever it is. But they have a pattern of, oh, the dog knows I do this and food comes. And when they say their magic word, I get to eat my food. Okay. So we'll help you set up patterns and routines. Some of them, several of them will help when you go out if you have a reactive dog. Now, let me also address that emotional dysregulation is not just for dogs who are reactive on leash. Many dogs who are resource guarders, dogs who are fighting in the house, and or stranger danger dogs. So maybe you've stopped having people over because you're afraid your dog's going to bite somebody, you need to be put down. All of those types of aggression, one of the underlying root causes is emotional dysregulation, is this nervous system that's overwhelmed and short-circuiting. All right, so we bring it all home, we address it, we start teaching them patterns and routines, and then depending on which you've got going. So let's say if you've got a reactive dog, then we take it outside, but not on walks. And we help you learn some additional patterns or routines that are going to teach your dog, I've got you. I'm keeping you safe. You don't need to be out at the end of your leash driving the bus anymore. I've got it. Okay. If your dogs are fighting in the house, then we set up a situation in the house where everybody can be safe, where they can see and hear and smell each other, but they don't have access to one another. And dogs that are fighting in the house, it's a longer process to get that relationship healed or formed. So if you've just brought a new dog in and they're fighting, number one thing when we bring it home is you need to put barriers, baby gates, and set up situations so they stop fighting. Every time they fight, they release adrenaline and cortisol. Their nervous system goes woo all over again. Okay. Anyway, I'm not going to give you all the how-tos now. So dogs that are reactive on leash, we just sort of step outside, we do some things on your property, or we go to a quiet park, those types of things, and we're going to help you establish patterns and routines so your dog can be like, oh, oh, I get this. I don't have to do anything. She's got it, right? Okay. If you have dogs that are fighting in the house, we will set up the environment so that they can have some positive interactions without actually interacting. If you have stranger danger people, then we are first going to start in the house. Stranger danger, sorry. If you have dogs that are reactive or you're afraid they're going to bite somebody that's coming into your house, then we also start that in the house. You don't need to do all the outdoor stuff, but we're going to take that indoors and we're going to set up the environment again, and we're going to put your dog through some practice sessions so that they understand the new pattern routine. So you're going to have some friends help you with this training situation. And if you have resource guarding, all the same things apply, but then we're going to start teaching the dog that you're going to trade up all the time. And there's some management in there as well. So let me just reiterate. You as a dog owner are not to blame for your dog's aggressive reactive behavior. If you've heard me say anything, I'm sure you've heard me say that more than once. You guys love your dogs. You've done everything that anybody's ever asked you to do with your dogs. You've hired more than 2, 3, or even 4 trainers. You may have gone to an expensive board and train. You may have used a shock collar trainer. You've probably watched hundreds of hours of YouTube videos. You may have read numerous books. Everybody has given your opinion, given you their opinion on what you should or shouldn't be doing with your dog. You've been told to do more socialization. You've been told to do more training. So the more training piece, yes, but it's not sit down, stay training, and it's not obedience. It's functional dog training, and that's what we do at Everything Dog. Okay, you guys, I am going to sign off. If you are interested in our free webinar, Dog Aggression, Fact versus Fiction, learn why everything you've been told is not working, reply CALM, C-A-L-M, in the comments, or you can DM us, and we will send you the link so that you can be first in line to get on that webinar. And I'll tell you, we have had over 3,000 people in the past register for the webinar, which is sad, and it tells me there's a lot of emotional dysregulation out there, and you guys need this information. All right, I'll see you later. Leave a comment. I'll reply to everything, and I look forward to seeing you again. Take care.